name is Rebecca Sheppard. I'm a tax attorney here at Frost Law. I'm here with Peter Haukebo, and we are going to talk about the government shutdown. There are some misconceptions. We want to make sure that you're taking care of your tax problems or tax solutions. I've had clients that got excited when the IRS was furloughing employees. When the government is shut down, they think that means they may not have to pay their taxes. They may not have to respond to audit notices. Their auditor won't be working their case. That is not what happens. I think people are like, oh, the government shut down, I can't call the IRS. And that's not the case. So you can, and you can still get some help. You can still call and get a balance due. You can still call and get a transcript. You can ask for a collection hold. Notices are still happening. Levies are still happening. You can still communicate with the government differently than you have in other government shutdowns.
Right. The scary stuff is still happening. The enforcement is happening. That part of the IRS is still around. It's the part of the IRS that we use as practitioners that aren't as much around. That's appeals. That's the Taxpayer Advocate Service. Hopefully they come back soon once the government reopens.
Appeals conferences that we've scheduled from protests that we filed a year ago are now being rescheduled. It puts the taxpayer in a worse position. They're not able to advocate on their behalf. We're waiting for more refund claims. We're still getting audit notices. We're getting some refunds that are getting paid, but people are really having a hard time being able to interact with the government on refund claims, specifically in exam and with protests and appeals.
I think one thing you can add where you're talking about the appeals that we've made phone calls because they're scheduled during the shutdown. Nobody's on the other end of the line. Yeah, they're going to have to be rescheduled. But we also had one that was scheduled right before the government shut down, and it was scheduled for mid-June 2026. So how they're going to fit these into people's schedules when they're already scheduling out into the summer of 2026 is going to be really interesting, especially if furloughed employees don't come back. Appeals in particular was one that had a lot of their employees furloughed, much more than other groups within the IRS. And so that's going to be a big problem.
So how is this government shutdown different than other government shutdowns? And that the government is still online. They're not as loud. They're not advertising that they're still there, but they are still there. So if you get a collections notice from the government, by all means, still call and find out why, if you're not expecting that notice, what caused the liability. If there's an appeal deadline in that notice, make sure you're paying attention to your deadlines.
And then, the idea that for ERC claimants that have had disallowances, now you've got the 2 years complications and Form 907 to have to worry about as well. So it's all just one thing piling on top of the other.
So Peters means by the 2 years complications is that when a claim is disallowed by the IRS, you have 2 years to file an action in district court. The chance of all of these conferences occurring between now and June of 2026 is very unlikely, especially given the shutdown and how long the shutdown is going to go forward. As far as the government shutdown, and what people really should remember is that make sure that you pay attention to the deadlines and you're corresponding properly with the people working your case. If no one answers because they are furloughed currently, that's fine. Make sure you call, leave a voicemail, and fax any type of set hearing or set deadline that you have or people are expecting documentation. So that way, when they do get back to the office, you're able to work with them and you can show proof that you did try to comply with the deadlines.